What do you want to get from Alex Jones?
Interviews about his plans to storm the Capitol. Interviews about what he meant by 1776, meaning Americans had to defend democracy by any means necessary. An explanation of how his business model worked and what he thought about America at the time before the Capitol riot.
Yeah. The drinking with him while he lifted weights. I'm serious. I mean, this is, one of the most despicable Americans in our history. How do you think the Sandy Hook parents would feel about drinking with him?
He's looking around like, are you serious right now? Bro, okay, so here's the thing, okay? What she's doing here, even if she's like kind-hearted, otherwise well-intentioned, is precisely feeding into Andrew's point, which is that like you turn on the fucking finger wagging for a liberal audience so quickly. That's insane. Like, you just turned around and you're like, whoa, why did you like platform Alex Jones in that way? Like, why did you platform Alex Jones in that way? Is not the appropriate way to ask that question. That is not that's not a question with an objective slant. That is an accusation. That is an accusation shielded like a fucking objective, neutral question. It's not a neutral question. And most people are now trained to see that because like we're on Twitter all the fucking time. And especially on Twitch, we're trained to see that because like, guess what? That's what a lot of my chatters do all the fucking time. You know what I mean? Whenever they want to be annoying, they will not ask a question. It'll be shielded like a question. An objective one maybe, also with like a just curious slapped onto the tail end of it. When you're not just fucking curious, you are making an accusation. You are launching an accusation.
You're asking me?
Yes.
Well, the lawyer Mark Banks, who represented most of the Sandy Hook families, loved the scene. He told me that he thought the film was great.
Why did you do
It's just a really pointed negative question that you just asked me.
Yeah, maybe it is. But you can take that.
No, it's just sort of like accusatory. It's putting me on like a bad vibe.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Why did I do it? Well, I don't know.
Why did you do it? I'm curious.
There's certain surreal moments that just happen when you're filming something like this that you would feel remiss to not put in the final cut of your movie. Like,
but why did it happen? I'm just curious.
I mean, come on. Like, yeah, if you fucking weight-lift with Alex Jones, he's like spraying whiskey on his face. How the fuck do you not put that in there? I mean, that's crazy. Also, none of those things made Alex Jones look good or even humanized him. If anything, those things unironically, it was olive oil, it wasn't whiskey. Okay, whatever. It doesn't matter. None of it humanized him. It made him look like a fucking psycho even further.
What happened?
He asked me if I wanted to see his gym. Okay, we got to the gym, he took his shirt off, started lifting weights, and then he asked me if I wanted to try. So, I don't know if that's in accordance with the traditional standard and pillars of journalism, really but I was just like, sure, I'll do it.
I find that interesting, how that happened.
No, you didn't find that interesting of how that happened. You didn't ask. It was a really if you found that interesting how that happened, you would ask this question. Hey, Andrew, I find it very interesting that you were able to get Alex Jones in a private moment like that to take his shirt off and fucking weightlift inside of his gym. That was very cool. How did that happen? Can you tell us a little bit about the events that led to that moment? That is how you ask that question if you find it interesting. The way you asked the question, NPR lady, was, what do you think the victims of Sandy Hook would feel about you showing Alex Jones in a positive light like that and humanizing him? By the way, what she's doing is the NPR older liberal version of Just Curious. We know the Just Curious Andys in the chat that come in and go, Hasan, just curious. Hasan, how do you cope with living in a $3 million mansion while claiming that you're a socialist, but even though you're like very clearly a capitalist? Just curious. She did that. She did that exact same thing.
Extraordinary moments.
Lahmacun koymamışlar orospu çocukları, kafayı yiyeceğim ha. Lahana sarması ne abi? Üçe koymuşlar ya sarmayı. Manyak mı lan bunlar?